me welcome him. Darlington, welcome. How are you? And congratulations on your preferment at the Deputy Director General post at the CSA.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay, Rowan, also welcome back.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm also happy to invite the DDG. Welcome, sir.
The man, we've been having too many engagements to appear here, and it was just great that he has come. A lot of Liberians are so interested. When new regime takes over, people want to know how the system is like, especially where people want to work in government. People who in government want to know how it's like and all of that. So he's the right person who will talk on that and what is his vision, also the mission, what he's trying to achieve for the government in this draft. But the public interested in knowing who is Darlington Smith, first of all.
Again, let me extend my sincere greetings to the people of the Republic of Liberia and my thanks and appreciation to His Excellency Ambassador Joseph Human Boyka Sr., who is the President of the Republic of Liberia. Darlington Smith is an instructor, is a professional, skilled human resource, public sector expert. He comes from a background of sociology, demographic history, and human resource management. He has a Bachelor of Art degree in sociology, minor in demography with emphasis in history. He has a master's degree in public administration. And so Darlington Smith has been with the Civil Service Agency for 10 years. Prior to that, I was with the Ministry of Finance as budget spokesperson and media analyst. And then I moved to the Civil Service Agency where I served as deputy director for a project, and then subsequently as director of the Civil Service Reform Directorate. And so for 10 years, we have been around the Civil Service Agency. And quite recently, we were nominated by the president and forwarded to the National Legislature and were confirmed on yesterday to serve as the Deputy Director General for Human Resource Management and Policy. And so we come here with a number of things to outline to the Liberian people and to the human resource capacity of this country.
Okay, 10 years is not just small thing. Talking about a decade you have spent at the Civil Service Agency. So I know there are too many things you have been able to capture. You came across so many situations, and I think you understand the way in and out at the CSA. Tell us a bit about your vision for the institution.
All right, as you rightly said, I was opportune to serve the Civil Service Agency during the then regime of Madame Salif, and also served that institution during the past regime, the 6 years of the past regime of His Excellency George Manuel. And so now we are here, we understand the into, we understand the challenges, we understand the prospects, and we understand some of the solutions. We know this is a very Herculean task. This is very gargantuan, very huge. And so it's something that we have come ready and prepared to help this government to solve. We do know that there are a number of challenges. One of the first major challenges is the issue that has to do with transparency in the payroll and pay management system. For too long, people have exploited this country through the pay and payroll management system. Millions of dollars have been siphoned and misdirected, while a number of professional people, skilled persons, Liberian, who are willing to help this country, help this government move forward, languish outside, and not finding work to do. So our first interest is to audit the Liberian payroll, make sure that those goals, people on the payroll, you may not believe that people on that payroll, some of whom are now working, some of whom have left the country. There are people on the payroll that do not exist, and there are persons involved in those the country resources at the detriment of the rudiment of the existence of this of this government. And so what we have decided to do is to audit that payroll, working with the Ministry of Finance, the GAC, and that of the IAA. It is our interest to vet the payroll, audit the payroll, and clean that payroll. It is not a one shot. It is not a one sharp deal. It's something that we'll do continuously. That is one of the first things we intend to do. Another thing we intend to do is that there have been thousands of resources also misdirected and stolen from the poor masses who work with government through an insurance scheme. We have ordered the immediate halt to that particular insurance scheme, quote unquote, called the private insurance scheme that people don't benefit. And then a few individuals who we believe are benefiting, but we will conduct an audit. And those who are responsible for treating our people who work with the government in that form and faction and keeping them in abject poverty and depravity will bear the consequences of that ridiculous flippancy. Also, okay, I know you want to ask questions, but
No,
a number
no,
of
no,
things.
no. If you still
Okay,
have more,
yeah,
you can talk. That's the vision. Then
yeah,
we can question some of
yeah.
them
I
on
work
how you intend to move them
when I
forward.
entered the civil service agency during the Madam Salif administration. We tried as much as possible, but it was not 100%, but at least at 40% and 40 to 60% to depoliticize the civil service. But in the last 6 years, the civil service was overly politicized. And so some of us who today serve for the last for 3 months prior to the election, we have to come up in politics openly. I think it's something that I intend to fight. I intend to depoliticize the civil service, and it is my hope that civil service must not be politicians. The government must have skilled and professional people. You work in the government, like the president said during his inaugural speech, that whether you are there is no green, there is no blue, there is no yellow Liberian. All of us are one, and so we must have skilled and professional people in the civil service. Besides that, when you enter the civil service, there are people who enter and have been in the civil service for years. They haven't had any form of training, formal training. It is our interest that we intend to put policy into place that at least every month, if not every quarter, every month, at least every civil servant should have some form of training and development because you need to grow from one level to another. One thing I already spoke to the HR at the civil service agency, and that is going to be replicated across the HR sector of this country, the government HR sector of this country, is to do a credential audit. There are a number of people who enter the civil service with fake degrees. And there's people who enter the civil service from high school diploma. They have never had the opportunity to grow and to be trained and developed. Our interest is that if you're in the civil, this is the caveat we're sending over. If you are in the civil service of this country, you need to put your cap on to develop yourself. If you came with a high school paper, it is my hope that in the next 2 to 4 years, at least you should have a degree. If you intend not to grow, you do not stand to benefit from any promotion. People will not be promoted based on political patronage. They will not be promoted based on nepotism, favoritism, and cronyism. People will be promoted based on competence and skill and the work that they bring. And that is the reason why we're going to invest in performance management. People will be promoted based on their competence and their performance. And people will be reprimanded based on their performance. And so no one going to be wish on anyone. Every that civil service belongs to the government of Liberia and must perform in the context that will lead the country forward.
Fine.
Well, Deputy Director General, once again, let me say welcome. You have a very impressive CV, sir.
Thank you.
But I'm also sure that you have very serious, challenging, if not vexing, issues to deal with at the Civil Service Agency. I know you got nominated. Very good. You went through your confirmation. Excellent. You've crossed that now. But what you have not crossed is one thing that I know that there are a lot of challenges in the CSA. There's too many talk about a lot of wrong things about the CSA. Oh, it's overcrowded. There are too many people involved. do we have an idea of what the civil service is like in terms of its population, current population? Is anybody who is uh, working at the government parastatal is civil servants for a civil servant, for an example? Because we hear about flooding of offices, especially when the last administration was going out. I mean, what is the outlook like? What sort of civil service we have in terms of size?
All right. In terms of size, on the central government payroll, we have about 70,000 civil servants. But outside that structure, we have discovered there are a number of payrolls that have been run by various ministries. And we have already started working with one or two ministries, and we're going to replicate that across all government institutions, 103 government institutions, if need be. One of the first challenges, if you listen to the confirmation of the uh, 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 deputy minister of the Ministry of State, Honorable Cornelia Kratoba, she called me in and we had that discussion prior to her confirmation. We did something called staffing analysis, a staff skill assessment with the governance commission, and we came up to know that based on the mandate of that institution, we're supposed to have 333 persons working at the state, the Ministry of State. But when the new government came, there was a little number added to that number on the central government payroll, which went to 385. But outside that, there was a payroll run. Those persons are not civil servants, but they are working for government.
Mhm.
And that these are some of the challenges that we are going to face. Then outside that 385 persons on the central government payroll, there was another payroll established that had 700, about 716 or so persons. So at the Ministry of State, instead of 333 persons, when we did it in 2016 to 2017, now we have more than 1,000 persons working at that institution, which poses serious risks security wise and whatever. And we started the interaction, and we have noticed a number of things happening there. Our interest at the level of the civil service is not to sack anyone. Our interest is to make sure that we have a sizable civil service that is going to work efficiently, effectively, and in providing services. So all our institutions may also be facing that. We've been called by the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and all our government institutions. So our interest, firstly, is to vet the process, is to do the staff skill analysis or the staff skill assessment. From there, we will do the staffing analysis. We'll do a number of other things with the governance commission, and we will come up to know which kind of size can work. If people are affected by that, we will try to propose other means. But we also, those who are affected, will try to understand their skills. If they have skills and those skills can be sent to the broadcasting, the government institution. Some people have journalism background, but
But
because
they are
of
serving in
yeah,
different
they are
areas.
serving some of them are even serving as drivers, some of them are serving different areas. We'll try to redirect some of those people.
Okay, sir.
Like the water and sewer. When I spoke to the managing director, he said, okay, I'm going to get in touch with you to help us. There are people who are there that may not have quote unquote work to do, maybe because of the innovation or the lack of innovation of the past leadership. If I told him, if you decide to be robust and make sure that you supply water across the place, some of those who have nothing to do will have something to do. So some of them will still be absorbed, if not most of them will still be absorbed, and we need more persons. But as we say, we have to do those things, and that is a challenge, as you put it.
So, I mean, when we hear about the numbers at civil service, and then we hear about other numbers other than what you have at civil service as civil servants, then it leaves us to start to wonder, then who is a civil servant? How do we become civil servants? Because then this will help us to have, a better control of who civil servants actually are.
All right, so a civil servant is somebody who works for government, especially a mainstream government. And we have public servants, but we have been pushing for the establishment of the Civil Service Commission that will cover everyone working in government, whether you're in the public or wherever area you are. There is one commission that will be responsible, and it is my dream in the next 1 or 2 years, the president might accept that, and we might have a commission. All right. So those who consider civil servants are those who are working with government, employed with government, and are on government central payroll. However, how do you enter the civil service? You know, the civil service has been an area where was factionalized. You know, when the civil upheaval happened in the 19. Firstly, we starting from the 1979, 80, the coming in of the then PRC government, and how they flooded the civil service. We had no merit-based system, and that is one thing we intend to do, to institutionalize or institute the system of meritocracy. People will enter the civil service based on merit. And that is why I said we have started at the civil service agency itself, where we're going to vet people credential. Before you even enter the civil service, there are many ways. One, you enter through taking tests.
Okay.
You take the test, you pass the test, given your background, we find an institution and we place you. All of people enter based on how skilled and professional they are. If you have a master's degree, you don't need to take a test. We open up, we establishing what we call the e-portal, get applications, get it in and say, oh, Darlington Smith has a master's in accounting. I think we need him in maybe the Ministry of Finance specific area, or he has this degree in economics, so we named him in this particular area. That was why the bilateral scholarship was established and housed at the Civil Service Agency to be able to train people and recruit them to the Civil Service Agency. Although the Ministry of Education, when the then George Warner was leaving, based on his rapprochement with the president, he took it along with him to the Ministry of Education, but it's something we tend to bring back. So we want to have a professional area. You enter through test taking, you enter through whatever qualification you enter through some transfer from one institution that we need you to this. But when you enter, there are things that you need to respect. And so those who are on central government payroll are called civil servants.
Okay, so
Whether in the health or educational sector
and
or wherever.
at this point, sir, I think the president did an excellent job to nominate you, and I think the senators did a very good job also to not only quiz you but pass you through the process. Your vision is clear, good, and beautiful, but I hear talk about civil servants and public servants. If these are the two categories that you're looking at, working in the different ministries and agencies of government, how do you work between the two? Do you sign off to the both categories as to who is working for government and should get paid for the work that they're doing?
Okay, so public servants are those who work with public corporations.
like
Like basically like the Freeport, like LPRC, like the MTA, NOCAL, these are public servants that we separate them from the civil service. Although when they have some issues related, they run to the civil service because the law says, we cover those persons. But when it comes to pay, it comes to hiring, firing, we are not really involved in dealing with them because they run their own institution. We've been advocating that when we have the commission, all those persons should be on one centralized government parastatals, so that how they enter, how they leave, how the issue of pay is being distributed, something all of us have to look at. And so it is our interest. But the civil servants are those who work with government ministries and agencies.
Okay, so we look at the budget. Many times you notice that a major component of the budget is being, expended for salaries, and that covers a very very huge component of it.
Yeah.
And then you talk about overcrowdedness of the payroll. I mean, this could be some of the individuals you talked about who may have their names on government payrolls, and they are not the ones doing the job in this process, especially the ones who even may not be in country but away. I mean, they got people who are receiving money on behalf of them here. How do you intend to deal with that issue?
Yeah, from the onset, from my introduction, I said that we intend to audit, vet the payroll, work with the Ministry of Finance, work with the General Auditing Commission and the Internal Audit Agency to be able to vet the payroll. And I can assure you that in the first 1 or 2 months, we're going to clean the payroll and government is going to save some resources from the compensation budget. You will not believe that just by the announcement and by our appearance to the Senate and
Mhm.
what we thought of taken on when the mantle of authority after being confirmed. A number of institutions decided to engage their internal auditors, and one of them called me and said, "Darlington, guess what? Just in the last 1 or 2 weeks after we heard you, the auditor have done what it did. We managed to save 11,000 on our
Wow.
February payroll. And 45 persons who were not working, who are ghosts, we have found them out. And that is the reason why we said there was no top up. And people wanted to the just the last few months, and we want to be very careful, very blunt with that. In the last 8 months prior to the elections, there were people who, some of whom have high school degrees, some of whom were not working, some of whom were even very junior staff
Mhm.
because of their political alignment. Some of them were taken from $200 to $700 to $1,000. We intend to look at the grading system. We are not saying that we want to reduce people pay, but we say based on the law and the policy, if you don't meet the criteria in a particular grade, you have to live in the context of the grade you find yourself. So
No.
if your salary was arbitrarily increased because of your political strength and alignment, we are saying you're working your grade. Civil dissatisfaction, demotivation in the civil
I mean,
service.
it's a disservice to people who may be doing the right work and have the qualification at times.
Absolutely. And that is the reason why we say as we vet the payroll, there are a number of things that are going to be done. The government going to save some resources from the compensation budget. We can assure you.
Now, there are some individuals who they had government jobs and they left the country either on their private initiative of scholarship to go and study while they are away, thinking that when they come back, they're still going to be on the job. They still have the desire to come back to the country and do the job. Do you have a secure space for them?
No, not necessarily a secure space, but what we do have is that after we have vetted the payroll, we have done the skills assessment and analysis. We believe that most of those who have left the country and have gone to study will have a place. The only thing that we intend to do is when the government when the government raises a lot of revenue and funding, those professional persons who have left the civil service, a number of persons in my office, like in my office, my deputy has two masters, and I've encouraged everyone and all my people are in the master's program. Like I said, my deputy, two masters are out of the country. I have to encourage him. At one point in time, he wanted to leave the civil service, given what he was being paid, and I have to encourage him. Be here one day with the civil service might improve, and we might talk to the government to be able to pay people at least a particular salary that will keep them here and keep this institution very vibrant and keep the government HR era very vibrant. We need to provide services, and because of the demotivation, people come to work. They have work, but they have job, but sometimes they don't do any work. They are demotivated. And with what is happening, our interest, like we said, if you are a sweeper and you sign up to be a sweeper and we decide to pay you, you are going to sweep. If you are a driver, if you are a director, and you sign up to being a director, as far as your position is concerned, your status is concerned, you are going to do the work. And we can just show in the next 3 months, you want to see how effective and efficient the civil service is going to be, because we're going to do the HR about walking around. We're not going to sit in the office. We're going to visit government institutions and agencies. Those who will sign for their friends, we get this. We try to our MAE, I spoke to the MAE director and those in MAE will do a complete monitoring. We move from hospital to hospital, clinics to clinics, ministries to ministries. We unannounced. People sometimes sign for their friends and their friends don't come to work.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you see there's the attendance sheet, you found one signature on the attendance sheet. If you vet the attendance sheet, you find out that one person signing on behalf of all. Sometimes when those information come to the CSA, our bosses need to have at the time our bosses need to have that the willpower to implement. But sometimes a political call or sometimes, oh my man, I don't want to take people job before they do this. We are saying that we're not going to take people job, but we are saying when you sign up to work, you should work. If you don't work, you will bear the consequences of the law. If you work, you will get the reward, and you will get the reward year and after then.
So, to settle on that, do you intend advancing the system where that could save government, because people staying home, not coming to work, they are being responsible for the government institutions to be very ineffective in terms of delivering, for the citizens. Now, do you intend to recommend or to embark on a strategy to set up electronic system at some of these government entities where people will sign in by electronic means, and once you are not there, nobody can do it for you?
Yeah, so like on the time and attendance, we intend to digitize the CSA HR processes, and time and attendance is one of those components that we intend to digitize. People will clock in, clock out, so that nobody can duplicate your fingerprint. That is something. Even at the civil service, we started that, and that we intend to have a conversation with the, at the ministerial complex. We have 6 big institutions at the ministerial complex where we are, and the issue of electricity has become a problem. We're trying to talk to vendors to see if we have time and attendance machine outside electricity that can still function. So what we have at the CSA was being is being powered by electricity. Although we intend to speak to the management of the Liberia Electricity Corporation to make sure that that area is government functionary, and that thing about carrying current and sometimes 7 hours, 8 hours, all of our time, sometimes no work is being done. We will have a discussion with the Liberia Electricity Corporation to make sure that area is lighted every day. And if it is done, the time and attendance machine is something that we hold serious interest and will cut across all government institutions. We will digitize the pay system, we'll digitize the testing. We are already digitized the testing, the pay system, there's an LPA system, the performance management system, and there are a number, the pen, even the pen process, how people enter and and they've been processed onto the payroll. So those systems will be digitized, and something that we spoke about when we met the Liberian Senate.
Okay, very impressive. Thank you very much. Do you have any say in terms of pay scale? Because I hear you talk clearly about merit-based kind of rewards, and in cases where people will fall short, they will have to be all accountable. Do you have any kind of say in terms of how are people paid, across the other ministries and agencies?
Yeah,
As per the qualification?
Absolutely.
no, we in the civil service we don't pay on qualification. We give you your position. We're supposed to give you your position based on qualification,
Okay.
but we pay on position. And so there are
Okay.
people who are directors who have maybe BSc degree with some experience who are director or will pay more money than is a supervisor, somebody who below. And that supervisor may even have master's degree. So the pay scale is based on position, it's not based on the qualification. That is one. But our interest, like we say, we intend to make sure that all directors across government are paid the same. It is not like that currently. Some ministries director, are making 700s in some institution, higher institution like the Ministry of Finance and Civil Service and all our area directors are making more than $1,000. In some institution, directors are making $600. It is our interest gradually as the revenue package and the envelope increases and the payroll is being cleaned, we'll try to see how we can fit it on. That was being distorted by a current payroll system. I was the project director. One of the things we fought for prior to the last government was to establish a payroll system that would not be infiltrated and prone to a lot of human errors. So we established something we call the CSM system. That is the civil service model, and those paid by the World Bank. I just spoke to the World Bank few days ago that they needed to help us to get that system running. In the absence of that system, a number of persons who managed the payroll for the last 6 years decided to establish another system. They call it the alternative temporary automated payroll system called ATAPS. And that system was easily manipulated. It was today you could be friendly with the director of the civil service agency or the deputy director for human resource management and policy, or somebody at the Ministry of Finance, including the controller. And the last government had somebody who was infiltrating the payroll, and that had nothing to do with the payroll at the time. But he could say, okay, I'm friendly with Goligio, I'm friendly with
Vowel.
Vowing.
Baron, and I'm friendly with whoever behind the camera, and and say that, oh yeah, So I'll push your pay to $100. Put your pay to $1,000. Why it is true that you are in a grade of somebody who's supposed to make $500. So we are saying the last, and that is why we recommended to the government that our 100-day deliverable, as soon as we take over on Monday, because I was confirmed yesterday,
Yesterday,
and I know today I'm
you
trying to
got to
make sure.
structure set
So
up.
Monday, when we take over, in the first 90 to 100 day, we intend to transition the payroll from that ATAP system that is easily manipulated and prone to fraud and abuse to the CSM system, and that is something that is going to work.
So I am interested in performance management across the different government ministries, agencies, and commissions. What's your plan on performance management, for example, training? Or let's just look at your plan in general.
All right, so our interest and one thing we try to recommend, and let me use this medium and this opportunity,
Mhm.
is that we are recommending to the president of the Republic of Liberia that all appointed public officials, including myself, should sign the performance management contract. We should sign that. If we sign it, I think we will be serious when it comes to performance. So our staff will be obligated. Members of the civil service and civil servants will be obligated to perform because their performance will, will hinge on our our job will hinge on their performance, because if we tell the president that this is what we're going to do, we are going to do it. So the issue of performance is something that has been very difficult to roll out. On the project I headed, we tried to test it with seven institutions, later 8 institutions. Many persons don't like to be appraised. They believe that when they are appraised, you're going to take their job from them. Some of them feel that. But it is very good. Those ministries we started up with are something very good. And most of them even embrace the idea, because if people give you a piece of job as per your work plan, and you perform and see yourself in the next few years excelling, because our performance management system will take into consideration reward and sanction. Will take into consideration promotion, transfer, and demotion, and even whatever the case is. In Ghana, for example, when I visited Ghana and we spoke to the management services division that responsible for performance management, you can predict that Montgomery enters EOBC, like for the next 10 years, you can say, oh, he will be a director, he will be this person, he will be that person. But in Liberia, I can point to that
Hmm.
because the performance management system has never taken a serious route. People want to exploit and bring people who are not performing and give them and the job simply because that government thing, that government thing, the government enough for you where you want proof. So we are saying in the strongest term on this as far as the media is concerned, that performance management will be given a priority. The system of merit, people merit the job. When you enter the civil service and you spend 5 years or 6 years or 7 or 10 years, somebody can predict and say that, how long you been in the civil service? Oh, I've been there for 10 years. And they assume that, oh, you're already a director, because there are cycles that you must meet. And as you meet those cycles and with your training, you find yourself climbing the career ladder. As far as succession planning is concerned, people need to climb the career ladder. It motivates them, it gives them the courage that I can grow. And I spoke to the sweepers, the janitors, and all of people in the security and the lower staff, that I gave you guys a particular number of years. If you don't take yourself and go and train yourself, go back to school, do something to improve yourself and remain here, I will sack you based on the policy. There will be a
Yeah.
policy coming. So everyone will have to perform, and you have to increase your professional skill. And we will give you that backing to do it.
Okay.
Now
Okay.
we turn it this way on the aspect about transfer and change in the summit. I know there are some individuals who been affected by such situation, especially from the previous regime. One taken from XYZ ministry, and because of some reason, and sent perhaps outside of Montserrat County to another county to go and work. And sometimes you see it at that way, and you don't want to go for it, and either you have to leave the job. What is the policy on
Those
transfer?
those days are over, where you say you're the director general, the minister, and you don't like college, and you transfer him to Banga. Those days are over. I'm a victim of that particular situation that you just came up with. I remember when the last government took over, I was transferred to Granjide. We argue about it, and I said that is not the policy, the transfer policy. When I signed up to working with government and working with the civil service agency, and that is what the policy says. If you sign up to working with ELBC
Mhm.
and you sign up at central office, if ELBC decide to send you to Banga, to transfer you to Banga, they will transfer you in a position that matches your position. Firstly, in a position that matches your position and your salary, or maybe they might, promote you. But you're not just going to Banga, because that is not a assigned area when you sign up to working with ELBC. It was your central office. So they will have to give you what we call a resettlement. They will have to resettle you because they are detaching you from your family and all establishment here. So you're going to be cooking for yourself. You're going to be doing different things. You're going to find hustling.
Mhm.
So if they are prepared to give you all the immunities to resettle you, it's not a problem. You can go. When I was transferred to Grange there, firstly, these were the issues we raised. I'm not refusing to go Grange there. But the first thing, I could not go Grange there as a director. There was no position called a director, regional director. Those in there were supervisors,
Mhm.
and there was no, as per the organogram, there was no position called director in Grange there.
So there
So
should
I
have been
couldn't. So
an establishment of
so yeah, so
that
the
post.
first thing, work with the GAC and work on the act and establish, in the organogram, establish a director position there. So I can't go and say a director. Sooner than later, will affect me on the payroll because there's no position called director in Grange there.
Mhm.
That was the first argument. So you can't transfer me in a lower position. No, it couldn't work. They say, okay, maybe they play father. Why the men not go there? We send it to Pommy. The same argument came up that there is no position. Besides that, it will cross that first area. The second area is that you must have my resettlement because you're detaching me from my family. But the first area they couldn't cross it. So we went back and forth, and then we made the argument, and the then president saw wisdom in it after 2 years, 6 months, and then filed the director general CSA and said, we don't want too much problem. Already people demonstrating outside there. A lot of noise from the opposition. We have professional people here. You know the man. It were two. You know the man and the friend know the law. Why we pushing that around? And so they just lead them quietly. And that is how the new director general came back and said, okay, that violated the policy. So no one is going to be transferred to a place outside the central office without being resettled. And when they are transferring you, they should transfer you in the same position that you that except in the case where which is not transfer where you did something unethical and they say they want to fire you.
Yeah.
But if it is transfer, if I'm a director, like even at CSA, if I decide to transfer a director, I transfer a director on that line to another directorate as director.
Okay.
I can't say, oh, I'll tell you I'm a sweeper or director of a maintenance. Maintenance doesn't have a director. How do I send you and say you're a director of a maintenance? So that is where we are when it comes to transfer.
So, Honorable Smith,
Yeah.
there has been this thing where once upon a time I was in a government entity and thought to leave to go to another institution that was not government. And a friend came to me and said, "Why would you want to leave a civil servant? Once you enter civil service, you are there for life. Until you retire, now you are there." What's the situation once you get into civil service? Are you just there? I mean,
Yeah, so when you enter, you are there till the age of 60.
okay.
At 60, we will retire you. But if you have a specific qualification that the institution may not have somebody who can replace you, we keep you on a little until we find somebody who can be able to replace you. But unfortunately, sometimes you work at 60, you want to be honorably retired. You want to sit back and do something. And then we having about 4,500 persons that's supposed to be retired. For the last 5 years, the handshake package and the transition of those persons to the NASCAR retirement period has been very difficult. We intend to make that process very simple. We have about 4,500 persons that say, I want to retire. But because government haven't paid their handshake and haven't had the time to transition them, we still keep it on the payroll. So it is my hope that in the next 3 months, speaking to the Ministry of Finance, or in the next 6 months, speaking to the Ministry of Finance, we can retire those people plus additional, and then we'll have a space for young, energized, professional people to enter the civil service to be able to help the country, help in service delivery. So we have interest, but like the question specifically you asked, when you enter the civil service, if you did not do anything against the ethics and the survival of your office and the civil service, you will work up to the age of 60.
But can you leave and re-enter?
Yeah.
Can you grow while you are enrolled? You are in the civil service. Maybe at your entry, you had certain qualification, but while you are in there now, you have improved yourself. Can you grow in the system to say, because of my level of qualification, I want my status to change? Is that something possible?
It's actually it has been happening, but I can assure you, on our administration and with the two coming, we can tell you clearly that it's going to be visible. People are going to grow. You will not enter the civil service as a sweeper and over the next 5 years remain as a sweeper. No, that is not growth. Our department that has to do with training and development is interested in making people to grow. Let me just say, outside the civil service, there was this thing one guy in Nigeria told me. He said, we went on Broad Street to shine shoe, and then the shoe shine guy was there. And while he was shining my shoe, he said, what? Is it the Brabi? I've been shining the Brabi shoe from the time he was in St. Patrick. He used to pass here. Then he came to Cathedral. So that was something since the early 1990s he was talking about. So the guy looked at him for long and said, you've been shining shoe from the early 90s. Up to 2000 and something we're talking about, and the man that shoe used to shine. He was in 7th grade at the time. Now he has graduated, he's a director. He stays shining his shoe. That is not progress. Why you're supposed to have left from here and allow other people to pass through the same means. But this time you're supposed to be even a director, controlling a number of people, employing them to shine shoe, or have your own or shop where you provide them with purchase and things. You can, and those persons left on Broad Street and some of them die as shoe shine people. We are saying in the civil service that is not going to happen. You can't enter the civil service and leave at that position and be comfortable. So when I announced prior to coming here, when I announced in the senior staff meeting that when we have the opportunity to take over, we'll do credential audit and we'll do that is the beginning of making people to grow. That is the beginning of making people to grow. You must grow in the civil service. People enter the civil service, like my deputy entered the civil service when he was in the university as a cadet. He grew through the civil service and he got his PSC. He was there, he got his master's, and now he got a double master's. And from just being a cadet, now he's the deputy director. And I'm sure that he's going to be the director of the Civil Service Reform Directorate as I'm leaving. So that is a pathway to developing your career and growing in the civil service.
Okay, you have said a whole lot here this morning. Folks listening to us, this is the Super Morning Show here on ELBC Radio, FM 99.9, and other frequencies across the country. If you have just joined us, our guest here this morning is Darlington Smith. He's the Director General, that's Deputy Director General for Human Resource Management at the Civil Service Agency. And this morning we are talking too many issues around, the government system. Civil service this morning is what we are discussing here. So you can join us by dialing 0880-514-096, 0880-514-096. Better stay 0776 740673. And of course, we can put you through the lines. Too much hot. Let's talk to this caller. Morning.
Good morning, brother.
You live. Go ahead. Tell us the name where you join us from.
My name is Omingo Kwega, again calling from District 10.
Go ahead.
Yeah, how can one take the civil servant test?
Okay, you will respond.
What are the criteria set to take the test?
Okay, you will respond to that. Let's talk to other callers. Let's do it in 30 seconds. Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, BC family. Good morning to Mr. Smith.
Yeah,
I just want to say thank you. I'm Prince Cody from Painesville. Yeah, I called to ask as it relates to the CSA. Is the major part-time lecturer issued was by public universities, most especially the University of Labrador. These are somebody that are impeding the smooth money of the institution. So how is the CSA working in line with the university in order to address those part-time instructor issues? Because what we school about open we have a part-time instructor protesting because like I spent opening more than 5 times.
Okay.
So I want to know, and besides, I will be another recruitment for the CSA that is for young people who are university students or university graduates.
Thank you. Let's talk to other callers. Morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes, you live. Go ahead. Let's hear you.
So I call from Painesville. I want to talk to your city guest quickly.
Mhm.
So there was a group of people that were trained but called PYPP, President Young Professional Program, and it should be deploying government. They were trained deploying the government. But the thing is that decided that the previous government they didn't really prioritize them. They just deployed them all over to so many more places that they were not really effective. So I'm sure that I don't know what I'm talking about. How does he address it? There's another group on a financial management training program, also master's degree in finance. But the last government just treated them in the house. So I want you this will be prioritized.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's talk to 2 to 3. Then our studio guests will respond to them. Then we can wrap up. Morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Smith. This is S. Gibson calling from Barnesville.
Mhm, go ahead.
And yeah, my questions have to do with and around 2014, 2015, Manan Salif then said that if a janitor at the executive mansion is making 4,000, assuming 4,000, and has a BSc degree, it means that a janitor at the FGA with the same BSc degree should make that 4,000. But we found out that these things are not happening. What is your plan towards that? And do you have an intention of having a pay grade where you say those are from high school working with someone will make maybe 500, those with BSc will make 700, those with masters will make 1,000.
Okay.
And is the EPA public up institution or is it also institution?
Which institution?
Yo, he said you went off the line. So let's pick up one, then we can go back to us. Okay, we don't have any yet. All right, let me take this. Then we go to you to respond to them. Welcome.
Morning, how you doing?
Yes, you're live. Just walk away from your monitor. Tell us the name where you join us from.
My name is Palongo Pepula Swift.
Mhm.
I'm calling from Singapore. I listened to our brother in the studio, and I was wondering these good ideas and plans he has. He was with the ministry, the former the Director General at the Civil Service Agency for years. I'm wondering why all those good ideas were never perfect because they were best of course, and they did a lot of things together. And I see that he's so obsessed for power. But the fact of the matter that the Director General of yesterday, when they confirmed, he acting as though he's the Director General. Even say if it's an instruction, if somebody not improve their educational skills, to start them, really have the kind of ideas. You don't say, I will. So the man that definitely confirmed.
Okay.
These are things I will offer. These are recommendations I will give for his endorsement. But he's appearing as though he's already Director General. I don't think that's a good thing for a young man.
Thank you. Let's give the time to our guests to respond to those things. All right. Welcome back. You listen to the concerns, raise some of those questions, more were questions, unlike the last caller.
Yeah, no, the last column made is a salient point. Only that he did not listen to the program from the beginning. We're confirmed already. And when I speak, I say we intend to do this, we intend to do that. And I know that if you work with the civil service and you are in line with the regulation, we are going to support you. We are going to promote you. You're going to get your pay on time. That is one thing we intend to do. We intend that when you work, you don't have to wait for 2 weeks in the following month to receive your pay. So I take your comment into serious consideration. That yes, we how to call it, we are going to work in the interest of the government. All right. So the first person was concerned about testing, and they say, how they can take the civil service test. Like for the last 6 years, we haven't had the opportunities. Tests were suspended in 2017, 2018. The test was suspended, and so since that time, people entering the civil service did not go through tests, and that is one of the most. That is one of the easy and one of the criteria to enter the civil service. So we had the opportunity to do a test drive on the system that we have had, and so we hoping that in the next 1 month we'll be able to announce to the public as it relates to tests. the PYP and other people have used the system quite recently. We tried testing them on the system, and so we will soon announce to the public that the testing system will come up. Somebody said, "Oh, you used to be friendly with the director general, and so why all the good ideas were not?" You being friendly with an individual and advising the individual is different from the individual allowing this to happen, and that is the reason why we have been given the chance to do what we thought supposed to have been done. If we don't do it, then you judge us based on that. Not you don't judge us based on the issue of working with a person, preferring the ideas, and those ideas are not taken into consideration. You can't go and beat anybody. As a matter of fact, I wrote the director general before I got actively involved in saying that the past government should leave. I wrote him and said that if for any reason the government is re-elected, I was going to resign. I was going to resign simply because I was not interested in working, giving ideas, and doing everything. I can't see those things happening. So it better I leave and find another alternative than to leave here. But I will do everything possible to have a new government that will listen to us. And so we are where we are instead of giving different people the opportunity to serve. The president thought it wise that you and two of your colleagues can serve at the civil service, and all the ideas that you have along with them can be implemented. And so the issue of implementing those ideas will take over. We were talking about part-time lecturer. We are called before to work with the University of Liberia. I attended the University of Liberia. I spent 9 years attending the university, not because quote unquote in the local Liberian parlance I was dull.
Mhm.
I've been a general scholarship student. I went to school all through my life from seventh grade to university where I pay a single cent because of academic excellence. But when I entered the university, we used to demonstrate for school to open. We used to demonstrate for school to close.
You're part of Soup
Yeah,
Militants.
yeah. I rose to the rank of being a student leader or vice president for the University of Liberia Student Union and Secretary General Soup. So we were involved in that thing. We had to demonstrate. The teacher would say, "Oh, young people will hold a grade." Then we'll demonstrate and government make small money to pay them. 10 times for school to open, government say we get money to open school again. Then we got to demonstrate. So I spent 8 to 9 years in LU, something I could have had maybe two
Maybe 4 years or
PhD,
so.
PhD by this
Okay.
time. All right. So we proposed that with the outgoing director general who also had a vision, but sometimes working with the government and the chief executive, even all those things we are talking, if the president of the Republic of Liberia decide not to take it into consideration, we're going to have serious problem. But I know his advisors are listening, and I hope he's listening. And we spoke this before we were being appointed. We headed the cluster. We came up with the challenges. We came up with what was happening, and predicated upon that, he said, "Okay, then go there and go help your friends to work." So when we go there and nobody's supporting us, I think we either resign or we make the government, they will make the Liberian people to be aware. And let me announce here, with the coming in of the director general and the deputy for administration, our recommendation will be that every 2 weeks we engage the media on what the civil service is engaged with, whether positive or negative. We engage the media on the development, and we'll take that institution to the people. And somebody was talking about the PYP. There are a number of PYP persons. We control the PYP from the Civil Service Agency, and a number of PYP that have been recruited to the CSA. We spoke to some ministries and will still speak to some ministries to hire them. As a matter of fact, we have a number of them who have been hired already in my institution, and they are actually performing. And it's something that we intend to sponsor. It's something that we intend to support. Speak to the Ministry of Finance and the government to support the PYP and the FMTP program. So the issue of grading and classification, somebody say in 2014, 2015, when they say this person is a janitor, the other janitor should be making the same thing. Yes, the issue of grading, pay grade, and classification is something like I spoke about earlier on when we had the interaction that people in a particular grade should be making the same money. You should not be, uh, 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 the pay should not be more than and another person pay, and two of you are in the same grade only because based on political patronage, cronyism, nepotism, or favoritism, or the person who say I will say,
Okay.
and then because of that, you get a better pay. So we try to work on that.
All right. So finally, let's just get your words in maybe a minute to 30 seconds to finalize the conversation. Then we'll let you go.
All right, I'm gonna extend my thanks and appreciation to the EBC family. We're looking forward to working with you in informing the Liberian people about and how the civil service agency is being run, and how we will serve as the chief human resource manager across government, and try to improve the service delivery of of government to our people. And so it is our interest to make sure that we have a professionalized, skilled workforce. As we walk to the ministry, we see professionalized and skilled people sitting doing nothing. It is our interest to wake them up, give them the necessary job to do, and motivate them so that this government can be able to deliver across.
Thank you. We hope we can have you here anytime on the program. Vaughn, let's get the words, then we wrap up.
Yeah, many thanks to the public out there for your collaboration, and thanks to the guests for coming in. It's been a learning experience, and we hope we can do more of this, and that we let the public to know what exactly the government is about, what the government is doing, and the government can also know what they are thinking for a better Liberia.
Okay. And that's the words of Antonin Vaughn. Earlier on, you listened to our guest here, the Deputy Director General for Human Resource Management at the Civil Service Agency, Darlington Smith. He's been telling us too many things here about his vision in terms of contributing to the development of our country, Liberia, via the Civil Service Agency. Thanks to you for being with us. The Super Morning Show takes its normal weekend break to resume on Monday at 6:30. Well, my name is Renin Taka Guligio. Do have yourself a wonderful, God bless, good day from Pinsville.